I had thought that yesterday's prompt was going to be one of the harder ones for me, but this one actually I really struggled with, maybe more. I looked at the prompts ahead of time and have been thinking about them for the last couple weeks, and I could not think of what to do for this one. It just felt like everything I was thinking of was either kind of lame or so complex that it wouldn't be manageable to finish in one day and would be just not something that maybe I could accomplish during Inktober. But the other night I woke up and I all of a sudden was like, oh, Medusa, like she turns people to stone. So I don't know, I imagine that as being a kind of freezing. And so I came up with this idea of Perseus's hand holding Medusa's head, and I don't know why. I just thought it would look cool if his hand was also not attached to his body. There's no like real thought process behind it other than, oh, that would look cool. So there's that. And once I had the idea, it was a lot easier for me to get into this one. And I was actually really excited to do it. I really like Greek mythology, and I've always liked this story specifically. Well, I think it's really sad. I've always felt bad for Medusa, but I do like this story. I also really liked using the dip pen, so I decided to use it again, and I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with it. But also, my hands were shaking today really bad. I tried everything I could think of to help them stop shaking, and then I was like, well, I just have to draw. And so I was making really small strokes, even when I was wanting to do really big, long, swoopy ones. When I tried to, my hand would shake too much towards the end and it would mess the line up. And even doing shorter strokes, I had to go back over and smooth out a lot of the lines that I made. So I ended up with really thick lines, and I probably would have preferred to have a greater variety of line thicknesses, but the line work isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, so I'm actually pretty happy with it. I thought it was going to be really shaky and it would be really obvious that my hands were shaking, but I think it turned out pretty good in the end. So I think I should be less scared to draw when my hands are shaky, because I think there are ways to make it work. It just takes a little bit more thought and effort. I'm also happy with the different shades of gray that I was able to get in the piece. As I was inking it, I kept going over the snakes with wash after wash, and it's not like they're super dark, but I like that there's more of a variety of grays, and it's a bit more controlled than I've had in the past couple pieces. Like, I'm getting better at controlling the darkness of and lightness of the grays that I'm getting. So I'm getting better with that, and that's good. It's nice to see an improvement. I don't know if anyone else sees it, but I definitely felt like I had a better understanding of what I was doing today. So that's hopeful. I think a couple things that I would change if I were to go back to this from the beginning is I think I should have added more detail to the snakes. I think they're not dark enough to stand out from Medusa's face and Perseus's hand, because those things should be the focus of it. And I feel like because the snakes don't fade away into the background enough, and they don't have anything else to differentiate between them and the things that should be the focus, they detract from it instead. And I feel like adding detail where Medusa's face doesn't have a lot of detail and the hand doesn't have a lot of detail, I think then being surrounded by things that do have more detail would make them, being simpler, stand out more. And that detail, I mean, it could have been like a design or a texture, something. I could have also made them darker, but I kind of like the darkness that they end up being. So that's why I'm thinking maybe had I added more detail to it instead. And I also think that more detail would have made it more visually appealing, because I think in the end it ended up just being too simple. I was kind of trying to go for a more like graphically simple piece, and I just think I took that too far for what it was. Like it has some intricacy, but it's lacking something. And then the other thing that I might change is I almost think I should have left the background white and let the line work stand on its own. I like the black background, but I feel like it might have been cool to have the line work be more seen. So I think that's something that I should try in a later Inktober. And thinking of the detail again, I feel like I'm shying away from detail a little bit for some reason, and I think it's leaving some of my work feeling unfinished. And so I'm thinking about it, and that's probably something that I need to pay more attention to. It's funny, I went into it thinking, oh, I need to pay more attention to values and contrast, and that's something that I need to work on. But I'm kind of seeing that overall my design process isn't super well thought out. I thumbnail, and I mostly just think of how it's fitting on the page, but I'm not taking into consideration some of the other design factors like values and contrast, but also like how the lines are playing with each other, how much variation there is in detail or no detail or line width, and implied lines and thick lines. And I don't know, I'm not taking into consideration some of the other things, and I think that would be something that would strengthen my work overall. So this is kind of a fun process to look back at what I'm making and analyze it and talk about the things that I'm learning or that I might do differently. And this is a nice process. I like it. Thanks for watching my new Inktober video. I hope you liked it, and if you want to watch more, I'm gonna post more videos every single day this month, and you can see pictures on my Instagram at Mackenzie_Benson, and I'll also write that in the description so you actually know how to spell it. And thanks. If you want to come back, I'll be here. Bye.